Welcome back to another Telltale Books video. I'm Greg and I'm continuing my Stephen King coverage of his brand new release collection, You Like It Darker. Short works, which I love. Short stories are great. Love his novels too, but I am a big fan of short stories and love it when an author comes out with a short story collection. King does a fair number of these. Joyce Carol Oates does a lot of short story collections. And I absolutely love it. It's like it's in an earlier video, I compared it to a buffet. It's just like that. You got some stuff you do like, some stuff you don't like, some stuff you really, really love, and you have this wide selection, this wide variety. It's awesome. And most of the stories you can sit down and read in one sitting. It's not something that where you're reading it for a whole week before you get to the point of the story. It's a story where if you don't have lots of time for reading, if you only have 30 minutes, a short story is perfect. You can often read them. If you're a reasonably fast reader, you can read them in 30 minutes. Some of the little bit longer ones, the novelettes, they'll take you an hour. But it's still not a huge chunk of your day, and you get the whole story. Novels are great because they do last more and they get into a lot more detail. But sometimes you just don't want that. Sometimes you want just a quick fix. And so short stories are great for that. It also gives me a sense of accomplishment when I read 5 or 6 or more short stories in a single evening, and I've got all these videos I can do. That's awesome. It feels like I'm being really productive. Not all the stories in this book are really short. The next one on the list, the next one going through front to back in the book, is the one I want to talk about here. It's also the longest in the book. It is a full novella. And when I was young, it would have been counted as a full novel. A lot of the Dawn novels from back in the 70s were not much longer than this story. It only comes in at about 150 pages of You Like It Darker. So it's close to a 1970s full novel that would have been published in the science fiction genre. Story is Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream. To the best of my knowledge, this is first publication here. Again, like I've been saying with the rest, I'm hearing that some of the stories in this book were actually published before this book. But most of them, I cannot find any information about that. Can't find any information of where and when it was published. So if you have that information, please leave it in the comments section of the video. The publication where it was published and the date it was published. I would really appreciate that. Fourth story in You Like It Darker. Beautiful brand new book currently on sale. Walk into any bookstore. You'll be able to pick this up and read it right away. Order it off Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you like to go for books. Currently, and this is the US cover. The UK cover is different. I like both covers. I do like this cover. I think they're both pretty good. I don't think either one of them is great, but I think they're both quite good. And what is Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream about? Well, Danny Coughlin is the main character, and he has a dream. And he wakes up from this dream in a cold sweat. In the dream, he was at this out of the way abandoned gas station. And he hears this dog, and he walks around back of the gas station and chases the dog away and sees that the dog has been chewing on a human hand poking up out of the soil. Obviously, there's a whole body buried there. And so he tries to call the police, but he doesn't want to have the police assume that he found the body because he buried it there. So he goes to a gas station and gets a burner phone a track phone, and calls the police and places the anonymous tip that there's a body behind this gas station. And they right away want to know who he is, how he found out. Well, he was led there because he saw it in a dream, and he knew people wouldn't take him seriously with that. He'd never had any experience like that previously, so he's not this major psychic. But unfortunately, there are ways that they can track who bought even a track phone. And so they do get information about him, and they do track him down, and they do think that he is the most likely killer of this woman that they dig up. In particular, this takes place in the state of Kansas, and there's these two investigators from the Kansas Bureau of Investigation. And one of them is a guy, he's older, and he is just absolutely convinced that Danny Coughlin killed this girl and is lying about everything. And he just can't be swayed by the evidence. He just keeps saying, well, Coughlin had to have planted that, or he had to have called this person and told, constantly just won't accept evidence to the contrary that Danny might be innocent. And he gets kind of obsessed with proving that Danny killed this girl and putting Danny in prison. And he even tries to set Danny up where he could bust him on drug charges and get him in jail, thinking that once he has Danny in jail, he can take his time to wear him down and get him to confess. Because he just knows Danny killed this girl. Most of the bulk of the story is about Danny dealing with this investigator and the things he does and the ways that Danny has to get around it and save his butt, keep himself out of prison because he believes he's innocent. Now, through the whole story, there's always the possibility sitting there that maybe it wasn't a dream. Maybe he remembered such vivid detail, because how many of us remember vivid details of our dreams? Most of us forget shortly after waking up from it. The details are gone. And so to remember the vivid details and be able to find this out of the way, middle of the nowhere, abandoned gas station, it's almost like he really did do it and it's memory, not dream. But you don't know. And there are other possible suspects here. Lots of blind alleys in this story. It's a thriller. It's not really a horror story. A little bit of supernatural element with that dream, but mostly a thriller and very well written, very well characterized. This is a brilliant story, powerful story. Really enjoyed it. Everybody I've seen other reviews by has enjoyed it. Samantha thought it was amazing. I'm giving this one top tail status because it is that good. It's really one of King's best. And, only about 150 pages. It's a novella. So not this big major 600, 800 page brick like you usually get from Stephen King. And yet he still made it really powerful and really great. A lot to be said for that. He's an excellent writer that can write great works at any length. And so definitely I recommend this to anybody that likes Stephen King, to anybody that just likes a good thriller. And this story alone, I think, is worth the cost of this book. What I paid, $23 or something on Amazon, and got it in. Well, I pre-ordered it. I got it the day it came out, May 21st. And this one story I feel is worth that price. It's really good. I recommend it. And this is the time when I say, have you read Danny Coughlin's Bad Dream? Leave your comments in the comment section of the video. And otherwise, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. Come on back for a lot more. I'm going to continue the rest of You Like It Darker. The next story in order going through the book is Finn. That will be my next Stephen King video. And I hope you'll come back. Join me for that and all the other King and all the other content we do on Telltale Books.